This is breaking news from Pix 11.
All right, everybody, approaching 9:30, and we're continuing to cover the breaking news at this hour very closely.
Yeah, we're learning workers. They've been evacuated from a construction site on 42nd and 2nd in Manhattan.
And that's because officials say at this hour, here's what we know. 2 columns have buckled at this nearby high-rise right across the street from our Pix 11 studios. Part of 42nd Street and a very busy Midtown has been shut down between 2nd and 3rd Avenue, as has parts of 2nd Avenue as well, creating a bit of a gridlock situation around Midtown. Angela Bavaro is live on the ground now with the very latest. Angela, we're looking at images right here of these construction workers who have been evacuated from the building. What do you know? What have you learned at this hour?
Yeah, that's the case down here, just kind of a mess in terms of the crowds, what we're seeing. I want to start off by mentioning the fact we showed you last hour that firefighters, they were kind of by the corners of these streets. It seems like they have moved under the scaffolding. We're right in front of the Pix 11 office building. This is what we're seeing. Command post table has been set up with these firefighters positioned out here. All this happening under the scaffolding. The firefighters, a lot of them have moved off of the streets under here. And if you spin around, this is exactly what we're seeing, these crowds of fire officials, other crew workers, trying to figure this situation out as the investigation continues into exactly what happened here. I want to show you the building that we're talking about. Again, this is 235 East 42nd, between 2nd and 3rd. We have a photographer positioned on the other side of this building on 43rd as well, and we're told they're shutting down parts of that too, so be mindful of that as you head out for the morning commute. Sea of flashing lights all over the place. This is the building, very tall, very big around here. I want to run down the information that we have gotten from the FDNY in addition to the Department of Buildings. As you mentioned in the studio, they got the call just before 8 o'clock this morning, reported bricks falling from this building that is under construction. Fire department says 2 columns buckled on the 21st floor. No reported injuries at this time. The Department of Buildings is on scene, and we have some information from them as well. This location, we know, is an active permitted construction site to convert the existing commercial office building into a residential building. General contractor, we have his name, Robert Travis of 235, this building. We have reached out to him for any information on what exactly is going on here, any response. But in the meantime, Department of Buildings is on scene as we see this mess of all these emergency responders, firefighters out here. We were just posted up by the corner out here, and they moved us back a little bit. We're right by the scaffolding. So this right here, to give you some perspective, we talk about this being in front of the Pix 11 office building. That right there is our office. That's the scaffolding. You see all these first responders under. They're moving as we speak closer and closer to the scaffolding. On the other side of the street is this building where these issues started. And this is what's under investigation as we speak. You can see the mess of flashing lights all over the place. Showed you the crowds around here as well. Sorry, we're being turned away right now. They want us to get in closer to the sidewalk. Thank you, sir. But let's show you, again, the command post, and let's take you to this corner. This is all under the scaffolding where they want us right now. You can hear maybe the sirens going off as we speak, as crews arrive to the scene, some fire trucks coming by. But those are the construction workers at this corner that were evacuated from this building. They're still out here awaiting next steps, like all of us, awaiting new information. And then down there is those crowds of all the commuters. I mean, there's a subway stop over there. On the other side of this, we have the bus stops as well. Just a very busy area around here with different restaurants and office spaces, Grand Central, just a very, very busy area where this is happening. So if you are heading down to this area, be mindful of all the activity that's going on. I can tell you it's still very developing. We hear the sirens going off. We have firefighters moving positions around here as this investigation continues, guys.
Angelo, stand by. I was just talking to the FDNY, texting with a few of our sources within the FDNY who said this is obviously a major operation going floor by floor. I was looking for a chief that can maybe come talk to you, but the chief is unavailable to talk during major operations that are ongoing at this time. So that is what is happening right now, going floor by floor. When you have a steel beam that has structural integrity, you have to make sure that the rest of the building is structurally sound, and that is why they're kind of keeping everybody at bay here. I know it is, a lot of folks in this kind of situation aren't allowed to talk. I don't know if those construction workers behind you at some point know any information beyond that yellow line, if they're able to kind of shout anything out at you of what they know or how they were evacuated, if it was an orderly evacuation, how they were told to get out of the building, what their kind of marching orders are now moving forward. There's a group of them kind of standing right outside the Westin Hotel. But obviously all those construction workers are keeping safe.
We'll check in.
Yeah,
we'll check in with them, but I do want to show you, I'm not sure if we have this in the station yet, but we got this video showing the inside of this building. Again, this is with the camera, so hopefully you can see this, but
oh, wow.
This is what we're seeing from inside of this building, again, where all this happened. And yeah, you can see some damage in there. From outside, we're not seeing much, but this is what it looks like inside when those bricks started falling. And this is what investigators are looking at this point inside of this building.
Wow, that is we have it now on the screen in full as well, Angelo. This video just coming in right now showing the inside of this building here. With that, you can see that there's the two beams. There was the one that we just kind of panned away from, and that second beam now that you can start to see buckling there. There's the first one, right? And these are major beams here that are now. Look at that. It is. They're supposed to be straight, and obviously it looks like a V here. And then the one to the left as well near the window, also in a compromising position there. And that is now what they are closely looking at and investigating. And it's clear now when you see this video from the inside of the building why they are taking such a lengthy time to go floor by floor now to see just how far this stretches and just how severe the damage is.
Yeah, it's incredible to get that perspective because from the outside, there's hustle and bustle. Yeah. But the magnitude of this is an active construction site, and truly, I mean, reportedly, this is the largest office to residential conversion in New York City history. This is a huge project that was slated for completion next year, 2027. So they're not only building out, adding some 10 stories on the other side, but they're also going up.
Building up.
So the structural integrity of this building is so important. And again, this is active. This is ongoing construction happening here in this building.
Yeah, so we are about an hour and 40 minutes into this, and that is great perspective, just talking about the scope and magnitude of this office conversion from the Pfizer headquarters that used to be there for decades to now these apartment buildings and commercial buildings on the ground floor, the largest in New York City. That is a bit of perspective right there.
16,000 rental apartments when it's complete.
They were talking about the scope of this when they were talking about these, whether or not they're going to start to do office conversions into apartments, that this was going to be the one to watch here. Just happens to be right across the street from our studios here. But this all happened around 8 o'clock this morning when those construction workers were able to see what we're looking at right on your screen. They arrived there at the scene for the start of their workday and found this on the 21st floor here. These two beams that have now buckled here, these steel beams that have buckled under the pressure of that building, as the Department of Buildings is now there with the FDNY to figure out what exactly the situation is now moving forward. Right. But a massive response here.
Can you imagine? So if that's on the 33rd story, and that's the 21st, you have 10 stories on top.
Let's go to Angelo, who just seems to have a construction worker now who has more. Angelo.
Yeah, so at this corner we have all these construction workers who were evacuated from the building. We have one of them right here. What's your name, sir?
Carlos Valencia.
Thank you so much for joining us. You were inside the building. Can you break down what happened?
They call us, we need to evacuate the building because the building is bending this side. So I evacuate all my guys. They have a crew upstairs and they tell me to get out of the building because the building is going this way. So I take a picture.
You say it was bending the building. What do you mean by that? Do you have some pictures?
See, it's going this way.
Okay, so it's leaning to the left a little bit.
Yeah, so we don't know if it's the building or the hoist.
And that's what's under investigation right now. They want to make sure everything's okay. We're told this happened around the 21st floor. Do you know where you were in the building?
I'm working on 10th floor, right there on that corner. So I just get a call from the super to evacuate the building. That's all I know.
And describe those moments for me. I mean, when you hear that something's potentially wrong, as somebody in the building, is that scary?
It's very scary, of course, because we don't know if the building is going to collapse. So I take all my guys. I got like 4 or 5 guys working with me there. So everybody went out, and that's it. We're waiting here to see what was the decision, if we're going back or not.
You talk about those next steps, so we have all these guys waiting out here. Tell me about what you guys have heard about potential next steps and any information.
I mean, I just had to wait for the GCs and for the super of the building to get more information. So I'm here to wait back or not. But it's very scary to see the building like this.
Did you feel that at all, or did you see that?
No, I don't feel nothing. I just got a call from the super.
And for people watching at home right now, just describe the area around here in terms of what you're seeing with the crowds and how much of a mess it is with all the fire trucks on scene.
I mean, all my family call me already if I'm okay or not, because they've been scared if something happened, maybe the building can collapse or not. That's what I can say.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate all the information. And that's what's all under investigation. They want to keep us as safe as possible. We're under the scaffolding right now. That corner right there is where those construction workers are gathered, waiting for answers, as you just heard. And then past them is all those commuters, also kind of in the dark about the situation out here as we await on additional information about this investigation, guys.
Angelo, great job getting that live interview. Stand by. I'm just getting new information from the FDNY. This coming in minutes ago while you were talking to that construction worker. They talked about how this all began at 8 a.m. this morning. First responders finding that structural issue on the 21st floor where 2 structural columns have buckled. But here's the thing. This is new information from the FDNY that multiple cracks and sagging floors were found at the 21st floor as well. Luckily, there have been no injuries. All workers were accounted for. Nearby buildings are being evacuated around that area as well as a precaution. They're talking about structural engineers, the FDNY on site, and that this was the existing 33-story location with active permits to convert the building from commercial offices to residential. But I found that very interesting that there were multiple cracks and sagging floors as well as those 2 structural beam issues at the same time. That is new information moments ago from the FDNY.
Which would lead us to believe that it could be weather related.
Yeah.
What's happening there?
Yeah, Mike had a question. Mike, what's going on?
No, if my mic is up. Angelo, did they, when you're talking to the construction guys, did something change in terms of the phase of construction? Did they start adding heavier things to that floor now that it's conversion from office buildings to a completely different flavor of residential look?
I'm sorry, Mike. There was a siren coming by. Can you repeat that question?
Have they changed what they're doing in terms of construction? This is a conversion from office space. Did they just start adding something heavier that's compromised the structure of the building, the beams?
That's a good question. As far as we can see from out here, we see the scaffolding on the side of the building. Not exactly sure what the extent of that work looks like, but we do know that this was commercial space being converted into residential space. From the outside, you can't see any damage. We see some boarded up windows, you know, typical construction equipment out here. We have this fence that is up, and we have some renderings on the fence as well, but no signs from where we are. Again, this is 42nd, between 2nd and 3rd, of what this work actually entails and what was going on at the time of this happening.
Yeah, can you
bricks falling. So, you know, that's what we got from the fire department, bricks falling.
If Tony can do me a favor and kind of pan up to the building again, it sounded like that construction worker had talked about maybe the building was pitched a bit to the left. He was saying he wasn't sure if it was the building or if it was actually the hoist to the left-hand side of the building. And so I don't know if we can get a good vantage point from this camera, or Bo, maybe that camera from the rooftop that shows the building from the top where you can see the elevator. He was talking about how he thought the building had kind of shifted a bit to the left. So that would kind of indicate what the FDNY was just talking about with these multiple cracks and sagging floors at the 21st floor at the site of all of this. Kind of what exactly they are looking at now in terms of what when they go into this building, these Department of Building inspectors that are there now, the structural engineers, the FDNY who are going to be going up to the 21st floor and looking at the surrounding areas as well to kind of figure out what the extent of the damage is to this building. It's going to be very interesting how all of this plays out there in terms of the structural stability of this building. But, you know, they're taking every precaution necessary now, evacuating buildings in the surrounding areas as well.
And you wonder if part of their mission today even was to remedy some of the cracks or sagging issues that were lingering before then. Things started to buckle, things started to shift, and then we had bricks falling.
Yeah. We're going to stay on top of this story, everybody. We have a lot more coverage coming your way. Don't go anywhere. We're staying on top of this throughout the morning. We'll be right back.